Hi guys, it's Stephanie and I'm here with our Disney devotional for today. And today is number 25. It is called Pirates of the Caribbean. It's time to move to a new land in the Magic Kingdom. This one contains 5 rides or attractions and they are all pretty enjoyable, some of which are quite popular among the park guests. We are going to Adventureland. Can you name all 5 attractions? I certainly enjoy this land. It's not quite my favorite. The Future World, which is where we go next, that's my favorite. But let's spend a few devotionals here in Adventureland since we are on this side of the park. We're going to start with what is a favorite of mine, and you guessed it, another classic. We're going to ride the Pirates of the Caribbean. The Pirates of the Caribbean ride, or Pirates as we like to call it to make it easier, is another ride that would feel weird not riding during a trip. I would survive without riding it, but I wouldn't like it. It's such a Disney staple and a ride I really look forward to. This ride is very special because it's the last ride that Walt Disney ever oversaw the construction of. It opened 3 months before his death in Disneyland. The Walt Disney World version opened a few years later in 1973. The attraction gave rise to the famous song A Pirate's Life for Me, and even led it to a popular film series starring Johnny Depp. The Disneyland version is 15 and a half minutes, while the Walt Disney World version is only 8.5 minutes. I will say I enjoyed the Disneyland version of this ride a lot better, and not just because it's longer, but because a portion of it goes outside and through a restaurant there. There are many other fun facts about pirates. First of all, there is a long-standing urban legend that states that Walt Disney's body was it's so hard for me to say this word, cryogenically frozen and stored beneath this ride at Disneyland. Needless to say, that is not true. When Disneyland version first opened, Imagineers were able to obtain real human skeletons remains from the UCLA Medical Center and use the bones in decorating the ride. Wow, that is very authentic. These have all since been removed. But to this day, some people insist that one remaining human skull is being used. Several cast members have confirmed this, but it's not known if they are just playing along or if it's true. The fire effect in the ride is very realistic. It uses a cloth, fans, and light to make it look like flames. And one fire chief threatened to shut down the ride until he realized the flames were not real. Oh, that's funny. Finally, there are 2 pirates playing chase in the queue of this ride. And if you look closely, the game is said to be a stalemate, meaning that neither will ever win. Obviously, others claim that if the pieces get moved from time to time, meaning the game is not always in stalemate. Check it out the next time that you're there. Okay, I would just like to interject a thought at this point, because when was this written? I think it was like 2017 when this was written. The Pirates of the Caribbean ride has since been changed to be much more like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies with Johnny Depp, and it's a scarier and darker and more intense ride. I did not realize this, and we took our 2-year-old on it because I thought it was going to be the little people chasing each other and the little yo-ho, a pirate's life for me. Okay, no, it is not that anymore. It is scary for a young child, and we could not get off. Okay, so continuing our devotional thought. So, on to our devotion for the day. It's not exactly easy turning pirates into a lesson. To my knowledge, there aren't any pirates in the Bible. That being said, There is one scene at this ride at Walt Disney World that does lead me to a very important lesson in Scripture. One of my favorite parts of the ride is when your boat enters a fairly large room right after going into the dark, steep hill. In this room, you're surrounded by a large ship on one side, firing army on the other. In other words, you are caught in the middle as two sets of pirates are firing on one another. Cannonballs and bullets seem to fly across your boat and splash in the water around you. Many children who have never ridden before get a little nervous during this scene, and they bury their heads in fear. Have you ever considered that scene is how our life in sin is? We are constantly surrounded by sin and temptation. Unfortunately, we have often given in to temptation to participate in sin because, like that scene in the ride, we are surrounded by it. It is flying and splashing all around us, and our fear causes us to give in. Luckily, as always, there is a verse in the Bible to help us when all seems lost. 1 Corinthians 10:13 says, "No temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man." God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond your ability. But when the temptation, He will also provide a way of escape, that you may be able to endure it. Isn't that amazing? Isn't God so good to us? Despite the fact that we often give in to sin and let God down and stray from the path and continue to ask for forgiveness, God always gives us a way out. In Hebrews 2:18 that He also tells us in Hebrews 2:18 that Jesus will help us out of temptation because He dealt with temptation first when Satan tempted Him in the wilderness. Just like our boat in that attraction, there is always a way out. We sail through all that sin and scariness and come to the other side of the room. We are not trapped. We don't have to give in and participate in the battle. We can just hold on to God, as many kids hold on to their mom or dad, especially now that they have changed the ride. We can just hold on to God, and eventually we will find our way out. Pirates is a fun ride. Next time you ride, look for that scene and remember that you are traveling through that room. There is a battle around you, but God is going to give you a way out. You don't have to be part of all that sin. You are not trapped. God always gives you an out, so look for it, find it, and get out of sin. Okay, bye guys. Thanks for joining me.